Welcome back to the Life-Giving Leader Podcast. This is super exciting for me. I've missed you guys. Welcome to Season 3. This is a new season. There's a new vision. And this is not just about the podcast. And so Life-Giving Leader Podcast took a hiatus for a little while. And those of you that have followed along, hopefully you're excited that there's going to be content coming back your way. It'll be a combination of a lot of different things we're going to talk about in this episode. And so I can't wait to get started. If you're watching this, you can go to YouTube and watch this video as soon as we start having guests again. Those videos will be on YouTube. You can just search Life-Giving Leader Podcast on YouTube, and you'll be able to find that. And I'm just excited to be with you. You can see if you're watching, I'm in my new home office. Our family just moved back here to Georgia, and we went to Orlando, a little 3-year vacation in Orlando. We've just gotten back. So even my office, you got my books, but we're doing stuff in here. So it's still a little messy. So I apologize for that. But this is going to be really fun for me. As I prayed and thought about what do I want to lean back into? What all has happened in the last 3 years or so since 1010 got launched? The main reason I took a break was we started the 1010 podcast. And a big part of that was a ministry we started, a nonprofit we started to serve our friends. And it's been an unbelievable ride. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we go. But for me, I am continuing to walk through these seasons of life, and I want to just do that on the podcast. And so this will be a combination of me just doing some episodes. I'm not sure exactly the regularity yet. But also going to be some episodes where I bring friends on and talk about specific things they're learning, they're growing. And most of this, honestly, will be leadership, business leadership, scale. I'm dealing with that in my own business. I'm going to talk about that in my podcast and talk about what I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing as a leader who lives and breathes this stuff. I'm wrapping up a PhD right now. From our last episode, I don't even think I'd started the PhD. So it's kind of cool that I'm in that spot in life. And so you can expect to be with me 20, 25 minutes. We're going to lean into everything from marriage to life to golf. Is obviously going to be there. I got a big update there. And at the end of the day, what does it look like to be life-giving leaders? The Life-Giving Leader Podcast exists to move you closer to the leaders, to being a leader that others want to follow. What does that look like? You don't just get that position. You don't just get that influence. It requires something from you. And that's a big part of what we're going to do. So just a reminder, kind of sum it all up, what Life-Giving Leader is all about is that when life flows from you to others, when life flows, influence grows. And that's what this podcast is going to be all about. So, and honestly, that belief system is different than what a lot of our generations are believing, that a lot of our young generations just believe, I just got to do the job. I just got to do the thing. And yet, we're saying, no, it's how you do the thing that matters. It's how you create the sales agency. It's how you go about the sales process. It's how you go about the nonprofit that you lead. All of that matters. All of that plays into this scheme called life-giving leadership. So again, let's dive in. I'm going to give you some updates about my life, updates of where we're going here in this welcome back episode. Season 3 is going to be packed full of guests and fun and opportunities for you to learn, opportunities for me to learn and process as well. And so, like I said, it'll be kind of a hybrid, kind of a mix between just me talking about some things I'm processing, and those might be really short, who knows? And then some longer episodes with friends and people that I've got run into that I would love for you to meet, who I think have a lot to offer you in the space that you live and breathe in. So a couple life updates since we've been together. One is we moved back to Atlanta. So a few years back, felt like we were supposed to go to Orlando. Our whole family agreed on that. Went down there, and really just a cool season of life. We're a part of a church, a part of a school, and then also got connected into some unique new business opportunities. And one of those specifically is very central to the conversation we're going to have today. And it's a conversation around Arthrex Orthopedics. And so a friend of mine, Don Phones, who's going to be on the podcast here soon, Don is the agency owner in Orlando. And so I started learning all about this orthopedic sales process, agency. How the heck do they do that? I do not go in the labs and watch them work on knees and shoulders and things like that. But what I realized is when a company grows so fast, as they all have, the concept of designing your organization well, developing your young people, all of those things take a back seat. They're really difficult to do. And so for the last 2.5 years, I've been involved with Arthrex Orlando, helping make sure that they're organized appropriately, that they have consistent meeting schedules and what's expected in those meeting schedules. It's difficult, if you don't realize this, to be able to hold people accountable to what you're asking them to do, including culture, if they don't know who they report to, if they don't meet on a regular basis, if they don't know what the expectations are. So a huge part of what we're doing is trying to create clear DNA and clear expectations. And so that's actually become a big part of what I'm doing now. It's allowing me to see and experience a lot of things, experience, scale. I've got 4 agencies currently within the Arthrex model, and an email just went out last week for me to serve opportunity for all agencies on the West. Well, that's 30 agencies. And so I'm sitting here in an opportunity to look and go, what does it look like for me to grow my business past myself? I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. So yeah, we're back in Atlanta. I now have opportunities to serve more and more agencies, which is awesome. But what's beautiful in that, and maybe you work in the mortgage industry, maybe you work in something else, it's given me ability to build a leadership product that we can offer to an insurance company that has 20 people in their team, or a mortgage company that has 6 agencies that need development, or a private equity firm who's taken over companies and needs leadership development in those spaces. And so what a gift, man. I can't even get over the fact that I'm in the place to get to do this. So a couple last updates. As I said, I'm finishing a PhD right now at Southeastern University in organizational studies, organizational leadership. And it's beautiful. I'm getting to do a case study for my dissertation of the 1010 Project, which is the ministry or the nonprofit we started. So that's awesome. Looking forward to that. The main premise of that, and we'll do a whole episode on this, is that it's around this concept, of psychological safety. What does it look like to create psychologically safe spaces for people and leaders to say what they need to say and to be the best version of themselves? So this is all great. It's a lot of work. I'll be honest with you. I'm behind right now. Don't be surprised by that. It's kind of my personality, unfortunately, but I got to focus and get this dissertation up and running. And now maybe the greatest update that I have for you over the last 3 years. I'm just kidding. This isn't the greatest, but it feels like a major accomplishment. Even just a few weeks ago, I was talking to my boys. You guys know me at all. You know I love some golf. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's a great hobby, great pastime. I do it with my kids, which is awesome. Just a week ago, I've been talking to the kids for weeks going, to be a scratch golfer, if that's the goal, is you can you can shoot par. That's your average or your handicap. To be a scratch golfer, you have to be able to break par sometimes because it averages out. You got to be able to do that. And I've never broken par. My best round for the last, ever is 1 over. So I shot a 72 at a course that was a par 71. That was 8 years ago. Like that's the best. I've had plenty of 73, 74s, been close. Sunday, just a little over a week ago, I made an eagle on our home course here at Brookfield to shoot 1 under par. That's right. Got to clap for that. Congratulations to myself. I couldn't believe it, honestly. My kids were playing with me, which is even better. My buddy Charlie Dawes. So huge updates there. A lot of things going on here in my family, in my life, but also just trying to prepare for this next season of scale and growth and what that looks like. So I'm excited to dive into that with you for just a few minutes and tell you a little bit what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, because I bet it relates to some of the things that you guys are feeling. And, one of the things in my story, one of the things that I believe God's allowed me to do, and in my faith, as you guys listen, you realize that faith is a very big part of the way I process life. But one of the things that I've realized in my story is that I try to pay attention to patterns. When there are patterns that show up, I get curious about them. When there are patterns that are existing, I start wondering, is there something going on I should be paying attention to? Is there something that is being illuminated? Is there something in my path that would make sense for me to pay attention to? And so probably the last 8 months, I can't tell you how many longtime friends, new friends, Instagram followers, whatever the thing may be, who have reached out to me directly and said, hey, can they would schedule time with me, and then I'm paid for it, but that's fine. That's part of it. Just kidding. But they would say, can I get an hour with you? Because I want to know why you do leadership coaching, how you do leadership coaching, and is there any way I could do that with you? And so I just started paying attention to that pattern and wondering, as our time in Orlando is coming to an end, am I in a place where there's an opportunity to not just be life-giving to the companies and the clients I get to work with, but also potentially people work with my company and be a life-giving company for people to work in. And it's kind of been mind-boggling for the last season of my life, thinking, what if that is what I'm supposed to do? I'll be very candid with you. I never thought, still sometimes don't think, man, I really, I could really grow this past myself, because when people hire my company, guess what? They're hiring me. They're hiring my expertise, my experience, my consulting brain, my almost PhD, like my experience, my education, all the things. That's what they're hiring. And so it's put this really interesting thing in my spirit of like, how am I going to do this? Like, how do I build a business with a product with people that aren't me? And it's been awesome and scary and all the things. And I've got 4 specific things that I'm facing here in a second. But what's happened is I did I guess a good job with one of these agencies. And because these Arthrex agencies don't compete with each other, they've allowed me to go, oh, Atlanta needs a little help, or this place. So these other agencies within the organism, within the organization as a whole, have heard about the development we do, about the way we've done culture audits, the way we're doing different types of evaluations, the way we've created great meeting schedules, the way we've allowed culture to become a language that matters, the way we talk about emotional intelligence and conflict resolution, and what does it mean to be a manager? What are the 5 behaviors of a cohesive team from Patrick Lencioni, using the predictive index to integrate. And so they're not just onboarding, but also making sure that we're using that throughout. Even this week, I've got a training with one of the territories and one of the agencies, and it'll be around predictive index. So this stuff is living and breathing in my world. And then all of a sudden I get a call and get to know some people, and they're going, hey, we love that you're doing this with 2 agencies. What does it look like to get you with as many agencies as we can? Well, there's 70. And I know I can't do 70, but I could do a lot of them if I've got the team and the stuff to do it. So it's forced me to go, okay, if I've got these sales agencies specifically that are asking for development, because what they're really good at, what they're best in the world at, is medical education and sales. What is really difficult because of how hard they work is people development, HR. How do we make sure we're going the right place? Communication, meetings, good meetings, not fake meetings, not bad meetings, not wasted times, not newsletters that sometimes communicate. How do we make sure that our teams are equipped, inspired, and ready to go? So there's 2 words that you'll hear me say over and over again if I'm working with you. I want to help create clarity and alignment. Clarity and alignment. Those are 2 huge things that we have to focus on in leadership. If you're not clear, then you can't hold people accountable. But if you're not aligned well, it makes it difficult to be clear. So those 2 things we got to be saying the same things, right? One of the things that matters to me in leadership development is that I want common language for growth. Everything we need, everything we do, everything we learn needs to be common language. You've been in any organization of any size, you'll realize that doesn't happen a lot. That literally what happens is Tom over here is doing strength finders with his team, and Jim read E-Myth, and they're doing that. And then Susan decided she loves Enneagram. So you've got all these different languages of growth, and they're not speaking to each other. So that's what I'm trying to do in these agencies. Now, I want to be a little vulnerable with you, tell you a little bit about where I come from on this. This is scary as all get out for me. I'm being just fully transparent. It is such a difficult, scary, and yet incredibly humbling opportunity. And so what we started doing, I started kind of having conversations with friends who had reached out to me, people that had these conversations with me. And I started going, okay, if something comes through, would you want a contract? What would it look like? Who would be W-2? Who would be contract? How do I go about building a team to be ready? Let's say 30 agencies come on. And that's what I've been working on. So I've got 4 specific challenges that have come up when I've been looking to scale my business. And I would bet if you're sitting there, you're a solopreneur, if you're sitting in the space where you're trying to figure out what's next, maybe it's even small, but you're trying to grow, I bet these 4 things have kind of played with you a little bit as well. So here's the 4 things that I would say are challenges that I'm facing. The first one is capital. I've got 2 people right now that I would bring on part-time, even full-time potentially. I don't have the capital yet. I need a few more agencies. I need a few more business. I need a few more contracts to come in. And I feel this tension constantly because I know they would love to come on, but I also can't risk my family at the same time of like, I still have to pay my bills. So where is that line of, okay, I'm making enough. Now I can bring this person on? Because here's my biggest fear, if I'm honest. I don't want to promise somebody and get them on board and all of a sudden the money dries up. I've been through that. I don't want to do that again. And it's fearful. And what I grew up in was we didn't have a lot. And so I lived with a lot of financial insecurity, and I don't want to give that to anybody else. So if I'm honest, that's the number one challenge for me is if I have the capital and we're ready to go. Now, we have to be honest. That's not always that never goes away. There's always going to be some risk. I'm just trying to build enough cash flow that it makes it less of a risk. So that's the first thing. The second challenge that I'm facing when it comes to growing and scaling my business is the hurry up and wait stuff. I'm telling you, for 7 months now, I've been building conversations, working on creating Monday.com, organizational plans, project management software. I've been investing in stuff to be ready to serve. And then it just takes a while. And then I'm waiting on this email. Oh, 2 weeks later, that didn't go out. Okay, hey, I'm following up. How often do you follow up without driving somebody crazy? How do you want to look desperate or not? Like, these are all the things that are going through my mind. And I'm just like, I'm building and ready to go. And let's go. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's going to be a few more weeks. Okay. So then I'm having to talk to all of my people that are interested and slow the roll on that. So that's the second one, is hurry up and wait. Now, here's the third one for me is maybe the best principle in all this. And I wish I had a bunch of insight to give you, and maybe I'll continue to process this with you here on the podcast. But at the end of the day, how do I plan without making promises? How do you scale a business and plan for scale without making a bunch of promises? That's the inner turmoil I feel. I've got specifically a right hand, a guy who I'm ready to bring on. He's going to be a part of this team. He's ready to go and needs it, quite frankly. And I'm fearful to make promises because I'm not there yet. Like we're waiting on some of this stuff to come through and we're so close. And so it's been this kind of, he's hurry up and waiting. I'm ready to pull the trigger, but I can't do it quite yet. But I feel this tension of how do we plan without making promises? That is really hard, friends. And I don't really even know the answer. And honestly, to be life-giving in the middle of that, I tend to process out loud. So I'm realizing I can't do all of that. So I don't know if you've been in this position, but it's tricky and it's a little bit difficult. But there's a third P that can go with that. And again, if you come from a faith background, maybe this plays into it, but I just pray about it. And I just try to take this into a place of surrender, a place of trust, and just let the thing play out the way it's supposed to play out. And the fourth one is not a surprise to any of us. The fourth obstacle is fear. I'm fearful of is this going to get momentum and then die? I'm fearful of these guys will engage, these agencies might engage for 3 to 6 months and then they fizzle. Now what I'm left with, I've got people that I can't pay, whatever, all those things. Fear of what is everybody else going to say if I grow a business that's successful? All that insecurity and fear it just rises up. And what's beautiful as I'm coming up on my 50th birthday next year, I just feel confident more than I ever have. Not confident in an arrogant way, just going, I've got the ability to do this. I know I can do this. And why not? Why not me? Why can't me and these people that have been drawn to this mission and vision, why can't we build the thing that other people have built and been successful doing? Why not? And so I just try the best of my ability is just to push fear down. So those are the 4 things. Reminder, capital. When is that going to come? What does that look like? What's the number I need for the next player, the next domino to go? Number 2 is to hurry up and wait. That's hard. Patience is hard. We all know that, especially when you're ready to go and this has revenue connected to it. Number 3 is planning without promising. I think that's the principle in all this that might be the most helpful as you scale your business is how do you plan without promising things until you're ready to pull the trigger? And then fear is just going to always be part of this conversation. So that's some of the challenges I'm facing. And over the next few months as we journey together, that's still going to be part of what I think about. That's still going to be part of what I'm processing. So, but here's the beautiful thing. This is beyond exciting. but it's also scary. But who doesn't want to be in that position? If everything is comfortable and good and content and nothing's growing, then it's not moving. I like progress. A friend of mine, Danny, always says I'm an idealist. Well, maybe I am, but I just like moving things. I like things getting better. I just believe things can get better. Your agency can get better. Your real estate company can get better. Your home can get better. And so that's kind of what I keep leaning into. And then, our friend Don Miller always says when he talks about story brand, is the question that every main character of a movie has in their mind is, do I have what it takes? Just watch the F1 movie for a second time, and Brad Pitt's character, you can tell, and the young rookie driver, both are asking themselves, do I have what it takes? And so I'm asking myself that same question. And the truth is, I do, with God's help and just the gifts and the abilities that I've been given. And so I'd love for you just to come along this journey as we do that and walk towards what scale looks like. So if you're curious and want to know more, you can go to lgcconsulting.com. That's where a lot of the business consulting, what I'm doing, transition coaching has become a big niche. I've got 2 or 3 clients where I've been walking through. I'm not the search firm, but I'm helping a board and the leader walk through this together, having conversations in both parties that they don't necessarily feel like they can have with each other. And man, has that been a gift. I love it because there's so many boomers that are ready to hand off their businesses and they don't know what to do with it. And so being able to walk alongside a business and hopefully set them up for this next season of success is huge opportunity. And I love it as a coach. I think it's been phenomenal. So, and then last but not least, what about this podcast? How does this fit in all of this? Well, again, I took a break for a while because we were going to build our 1010 podcast for our ministry and the nonprofit we started, and that's been going well. And 5 years in, we've had 150 guys or so go through our 12-month process. And wow, I've moved on to the board of it now. My co-founder, Josh Turner, is still leading it, and unbelievable things are happening in the men of that. And as I do my dissertation, we'll process some of that together. And we'll probably maybe even interview a few of the guys and hear what would they say is actually accurate for creating safe space, and why does it matter, and what was missing and what wasn't missing, and how do we create that for them to say all the things that they need to say. So in the podcast and moving forward, it's going to be me talking about some stuff, but it's also going to be guests. My list of guests is way too exhaustive to get to, but I'm just going to keep plugging away with friends who are good at specific things and talk about how they got there. Did they feel the same I feel in some of these things? We're going to talk about business. How do we grow business? How do we develop business? How do we, there you go. See, I did YouTube and all of a sudden I get a little thumbs up on myself. The reactions obviously are still turned on. So that's exciting. We're going to talk about scale. We're going to talk about leadership stories. I want to hear stories of people, men and women, students who are leading something they didn't realize they did. And to tie into the idea of when life flows, influence grows. What does that play like? I'm going to give you updates on our family. I've got we're 2 or 3 weeks away from school starting, and I have a senior in high school and a freshman in high school who are starting in just a few weeks. So we're as a family, we're processing life transition. We're processing a kid going to college, looking through that, getting ready for college is a whole thing. And then obviously we're going to talk about some golf, some updates on golf. As I record this, Scotty Scheffler just won the Open and had just had an unbelievable interview where he talked about, if there's ever a day that professional golf is over my family, I quit. And it was a phenomenal interview, and I think it's worth you watching for 5 minutes. But we're going to talk about golf, my game. Okay, where I'm at right now, I'm currently a 4.0 handicap. I'm about to head out for the weekend with my buddy's trip. This is our 26th year of doing that, and I love it because of friendship and all the things that go with it. But I can't not talk about golf. Okay, that's all. So here's a couple takeaways, a couple things I want you to think about. You can DM me there at tylerreagin.com. You can go there, but on Instagram, if you just go Tyler Reagin, Reagin, you can send me a message and we can chat about these things. With the pattern that has existed over the last year for me, one of the things I'm realizing after doing this full time for 7-8 years, but doing leadership coaching for the last 15, is there's a lot of you that love what you do, but feel like there's another level. And some of you are even in a workplace, a church, a space, nonprofit, business, where you feel like even in your current role, you could do some coaching. So the question I'm trying to figure out is, if so many of you are interested in what we do, and now that I've really cut my chops and built a business out of this, so many of you are going, well, could I get certified through Life Giving Company or LGC Consulting? Could you do a coaching class for me? Would you do a cohort of 10 coaches and spend 6 weeks with us? All of those things are on the table. I've got people ready to go to help build this stuff with me. The podcast will be a piece of that. I've got another book I'm working on, thinking about, but I got to get this PhD done, as you know. So here's what I love. If you're interested in something like that, you can either email me, tyler@lifegiving.co, not .com, but .co, or just send me a DM on Instagram. And I'm really trying to figure out, if I offer this, is there a need for it? Maybe we build some classes around it. Maybe we talk about how do we coach this specific type of situation. Even as a record, we've had 2 places that are really struggling with some long-term players, and one of them just removed one, and the other one's still processing that. And I've got multiple clients. So, good luck guessing on who I'm talking about if you know anything about it. But I'm just saying, it's a really important thing that we have to do, is transition people really well. So if it's something that you'd be interested in paying to be a part of a cohort or learn more about leadership executive coaching, let me know, because that'll help me determine whether I want to build this thing out in that way or not, or just keep working with clients specifically. But I am convinced of one thing, is I believe, and again, from a faith background, I believe God is calling me to build a business so that others can be impacted and life brought to them, whether it's the client or whether it's staff. And I'm going to lean all in on that, and hopefully you can go on that journey with me. So if you've got friends that this kind of content would be helpful for, please just have them like and subscribe to the Life Giving Leader podcast. Season 3 is underway. Welcome back. Super excited to have you here again on YouTube. You can go to Life Giving Leader podcast and find the video. And just super thankful to be back. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.